Good morning, everybody. Okay, this is a fun tip to use. This is something I've done a lot in the past with other systems. This is actually my first time doing this with Final Cut Pro X, but the concept is exactly the same, so it doesn't really matter which system you're going to use. You could do this with Premiere. You can do it with Media 100. That's the original place I learned how to do this. Basically, what we are going to do is sync audio with video. Normally, when you sync audio and video, when you see like film strips and they take the little clapboard and they clap it, that is to make a spike in the waveform and a visual cue so that you can sync the audio and the video together. They've been doing that technique for years. Sometimes you have that, sometimes you don't, and I believe in this particular video, she goes like this. Yay, claps twice. Okay, it looks kind of funny. That's not a big deal. I'm actually going to show you a couple of different ways to use this. One is when you record both off of your camera and in a separate audio system, you get audio for both and you will hear how it works. And then the other system, what I'm going to do is resync it again by turning the volume down and showing you different points where you can start syncing your audio. All right? So first off, we have this.
Listo, hold on. Listo. En 3,
That's not me.
2 y 1.
Muy buenas noches y gracias por acompañarnos en su noticiero Telemundo Las Vegas. Les saluda.
Okay, I know where that point is in the audio recording, which is right here. And she's talking a lot before, and you can, if you listen closely, you can hear him count right here.
Muy buenas noches. Dos hombres fueron arrestados.
Okay, so I think it's actually here where he does it.
Muy buenas noches y gracias por acompañarnos.
Yeah, I believe that's the one. All right, so we're going to sync those two up. And what I'll do actually first is let's go ahead and just cut it right here and remove this so that we have as much of this part as we can. And let's take this, drag it back to the beginning. And if you look at the waveform, you can see how these spikes are similar to these spikes. So we're going to line them up. It's going to get very loud, so I'm going to turn it down. And we're going to listen to it.
2 y 1.
Muy buenas noches y gracias por acompañarnos.
Okay, you can hear the echo. And what's neat is, while it's going, you can sit here and use the trim keys to trim them back and forth.
1.
Muy buenas noches y gracias por acompañarnos en su noticiero Telemundo Las Vegas. Les saluda Alejandra Ortiz.
Okay, now right now you hear that there's absolutely no echo. Let's go back there to this part. There's a little bit of phasing, a little bit of reverb. And that's because they aren't exactly in sync because they don't have the exact same time code. Both of these systems were not running on a time code generator, so they're going to be slightly off.
3, 2 y 1.
Normally you do have a time
Muy
code
buenas
generator
noches y
somewhere,
gracias
so
por acompañarnos en su noticiero
you're going to get a little bit
Telemundo
of
Las
phase
Vegas.
in
Les
this one.
saluda Alejandra Ortiz.
But if I remove the audio from here, it's close enough that you won't even notice
Muy buenas noches y gracias por acompañarnos en su noticiero Telemundo Las
that
Vegas.
it's slightly out of
Les saluda
sync.
Alejandra Ortiz.
Okay. When it's out of sync, you'll hear a sound similar to
Muy buenas
this.
noches y gracias por acompañarnos en su noticiero Telemundo Las Vegas. Les
That's
saluda
2 frames out of
Alejandra
sync.
Ortiz.
Let's do that again.
Muy buenas noches y gracias por acompañarnos
That's
en
one
su
frame.
noticiero Telemundo Las Vegas. Les saluda
This is
Alejandra.
as close to in sync as possible.
Muy buenas noches y gracias por acompañarnos
One frame to
en
the
su
right.
noticiero Telemundo Las Vegas. Les
2
saluda
frames to the right.
Alejandra Ortiz.
Okay. So this is our best
Buenas
bet.
noches y gracias por acompañarnos.
Sounds the same.
Muy buenas noches y gracias
Here.
por acompañarnos.
And this sync should carry all the way through the rest of the clip.
Última hora se acaba de presentar en Francia un atentado en contra de la población. Un camión arrolló a varias personas.
Cool. All right. So that's method number 1, using audio. Now, I used to do this with machines where we could actually cue them. We'd have one machine playing, and we'd sit there and use the shuttle and go back and forth until we heard this.
Muy buenas noches y gracias
And then
por
we knew they were
acompañarnos
in
en su
sync,
noticiero
and we
Telemundo
could
Las
actually
Vegas. Les
switch
saluda
between the
Alejandra
two, and nobody would notice. Okay, next method. I'm going to bring this here. All right, so we know this is where she talks. I'm going to give a little bit here. So we know this is what she says here.
Muy buenas noches y gracias por acompañarnos en su noticiero Telemundo Las
All right. So she says one word right here that's perfect for use. I find that using a B, a P, or a T are very, very good points where they can sync. The P is probably the best. The B is a little softer. But she says muy buenos.
Muy buenas noches y
So buenos could be used, but the part that
muy
I
buenas
want to
noches
try
y gracias
is
por acompañarnos en su noticiero.
the acompañarnos.
Gracias por
Right there is her pa.
acompañarnos en su
Pañarnos right there. All right, so I'm going to remove this, and we'll take this and drag this back to the beginning. And I'm going to turn this other audio off just to show you the second method. Yeah, you know what? Let me zoom out a little bit. Be easier to bring it back. All right. There's no audio here. So she says 1, 2, 3, and she says, muy buenos días. Right there. See where she closes her lips? That's the beginning of her pañarnos.
Acompañarnos en su noticiero.
No, I'm wrong. Right there. I probably could have used the gracias por as well, but I chose not to. But this should be in sync right here now.
Muy buenas noches y gracias por acompañarnos en su noticiero Telemundo Las Vegas. Les saluda Alejandra Ortiz.
Let's bring up the audio and see how out of sync we are. I might be one frame out.
Muy buenas noches y
Yep,
gracias.
I'm one frame out. So I'm going to shift it over.
Muy buenas noches y gracias por acompañarnos en su noticiero Telemundo Las Vegas. Les saluda Alejandra Ortiz.
Okay, that's about as good as it's going to get. All right, so doing that without the...
Muy buenas noches y gracias por acompañarnos en su noticiero Telemundo Las Vegas. Les
If I didn't have audio, I would be able to do it with this. Just using that.
Muy buenas noches y gracias por
That's one
acompañarnos en
frame
su
out.
noticiero Telemundo Las Vegas. Les saluda Alejandra Ortiz.
And that looks like it's right on.
Muy buenas noches y gracias por acompañarnos en su noticiero Telemundo Las Vegas. Les saluda Alejandra Ortiz.
All right, the clap method. I'm going to move this back here, and let's go to the end of the clip. I said end. Where's the end? All right, let's go up this way. And let's go find her claps. Now, I don't like using hand claps because they are a little softer than like a clapboard clap. She's looking at him like, why am I clapping?
Yay.
All right, so what we want is this pop right here. Okay? Now, if we look at this, we see these bumps here. These are not claps. These spikes are claps. Those two little spikes right there are claps. So I'm going to line one of them up right here. I'm probably going to zoom in a little bit to see. Right there should be right where the spike is. Okay, let's see if it works. Okay, so that's using a clap. Now, like I said, I don't really like using a hand clap, but this should line everything up.
Muy buenas noches y gracias por acompañarnos en su noticiero Telemundo Las Vegas. Les saluda Alejandra Ortiz.
Pretty cool, huh? All right, so that's how you sync audio together. It helps when, if you notice, both these clips are really long, okay? If you were to break them up let's say you're going to hit start and stop. You need to start and stop both devices as close to the same time as possible. And if you're going to let one of them roll, you need to let the other roll. So if you're going to let your audio just sit there and record everything, you need to let your video do the same as well. Because otherwise you're going to sync every single clip and it's going to get very annoying. If you only have to sync it once, you can sync them and you can keep them together at all times. Because now, if I have another clip over here and I need to move this around, in Final Cut Pro they're automatically synced like this. In other systems you'll be able to sync them together. In Media 100 you can turn them into a synced clip just by right clicking and saying turn into a synced clip. Here we can turn them into a compound clip. I just called it Leviathan. So this makes a compound clip, and if we go in and edit the compound clip we can see how everything is and we can resync whatever we need. But now this Leviathan clip is a single clip according to Final Cut Pro.
Recuerde que puede ingresar. Ven, pongamos uno más bonito.
All right. So that's how you sync audio. The 3 different methods of syncing audio, or at least the ones that I find, are lining up the audio from the front mic with your audio from your separate device and listening for no echo. The second idea, and I kind of use this to find good points, is using a B, a P, or a T in the speech patterns with their lips and syncing up the spikes on those things. And the third is actually having a clapboard or somebody clap something that makes noise so that you can catch the audio spike on those things and line it up with the visual motion of the clap. All right. Thank you very much for watching.